The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host, once more into the breach, dear friends.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Slow on the uptake today. What do we have going on today? Well, markets once again a little higher today, 8.5 points higher. Volume tragically lower. Yesterday the market went higher, but was if you looked at it in dollar terms, less than $50 billion less as it went up higher on Thursday than it did on Wednesday. Today we're 350 million shares short on the NYSE compared to yesterday at this time. So we continue to get narrower and narrower for volume. Breadth has been pretty good. Everybody's decided that it's time to buy something here. My question is whether or not we're not going into the week of massive destruction next week. My thoughts are that we could easily be doing that. I am adding to short positions here, and I think even if you think I'm wrong, man, is our options cheap right now. They are so cheap as to be ludicrously cheap, and that's what attracts me to them. They're like little lotto tickets where you can make 50 grand or maybe risking 1,000. I mean, there's some monster deals out here in this, and everybody is banking on the zero chance of lower prices. So guess what? Options are, at least puts, are cheap on the outlook that literally the stock market cannot go lower. And maybe it can't, but my guess is history tells us a great deal different. And again, I can't help but to think much about Nassim Taleb in his book, and he was talking about being in front of a bunch of people in a room, and he says, well, you think the market's going higher or lower? He goes, probably going higher, probably going 20 points higher. And he says, but I just want to go out and buy more puts. And they couldn't figure out how he thought that the market was probably going to go against him. He should buy the puts. But the out-of-the-money puts were so significantly discounted that any kind of bounce his way was going to make him multitudes more than chasing and going just a little higher. The volumes, the dollar amounts, they all show that this market is incredibly brittle. We talked about that a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago, when the market did drop 40 or 50 points all in one day. My guess is that'll happen again, that everybody will assume it's time to buy. And then, you know what? We've gotten the last person to click to buy something. Everybody will be a seller, and we'll have a summer of fun being bearish. Just one man's thought. As always, we like to start the show with a little bit of history.
That it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
It is history repeating on this day in 1931. 100 authors against Einstein. A book is published. It's actually had 120 papers in it, 120 authors actually against Einstein. And his theories were refuted from many different viewpoints, some from contributions or philosophicals, others were based on mathematics and physics, why it even contains contributions in which psychological arguments are used to say why his ideas of general relativity were all wrong. In the end, 600 scientists signed into this belief, plus another couple hundred that tagged on even later into 1938. When Einstein was told of this, Einstein was reported to say, "Why 100? If I was wrong, it would only take one to have been enough to show me, using the scientific method, that I was wrong." And of course, what are we doing here? 70 years later, Einstein was right. And guess what? 900 some odd scientists were wrong. How could that be? Well, I guess we have to give it to Einstein. He stuck with his guns. He knew he was right. The math said that he was right. A lot of people just didn't want him to be right for a variety of reasons. But every time I hear somebody say consensus, all I can think about is this parable from 1931. Michael Crichton said it better. Let's be clear. The work of science has nothing to do with consensus. Consensus is the business of politics. Science is, on the contrary, requires only one investigator who happens to be right, which means that he or she reflects or has results that are verifiable by reference to the real world and repeatable by somebody else. In science, consensus is irrelevant. What is relevant is reproducible results. The greatest scientists in history are great precisely because they broke with the consensus. And I always love this little thing I heard from the chief scientists at the college in Adelaide, Australia.
Well, here's Dr. Paul Willis, director of the RI-Aus in Adelaide.
Science is not a democracy. A consensus of evidence may be interesting, but technically it may not be significant. The thoughts of a majority of scientists doesn't mean a hill of beans. It's all about the evidence. And science is never settled.
Oh, wow. It's never settled, and it has nothing to do with consensus. Okay. Just wanted to make sure everybody had heard that. A lot of people out there kind of playing and diddling with science out there. Wanted to make sure it's never settled, and it has nothing to do with consensus. Just wanted to make sure everybody heard that. In the meantime, you can give me a call, 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com. And, of course, you can post messages in the den to me now. We talked about Apple being below the 9-day. It has popped above it. What did we see out here today, though, so far? 15.3 million shares compared to 51 million shares down on the 17th. As I said, this is a market that is very thin, fairly brittle. You never know exactly when that last piece of straw is going to break the camel's back. But if you were looking for some sign of strength in Apple today, even though it did go back above the 9-day average, you're certainly not seeing it in volume. And we are not seeing it in the general market or ETFs either. We have yet to reach 1.8 billion shares on the NYSE consolidated date. And we all know that means for volume. We'll be back in a minute.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And we're back. Looking at Apple, we'll take a look at Microsoft out here, MSFT. I'm a little worried about Microsoft. They had a nice day today, no volume out here in comparison to kind of the last 3 days. So a light volume push higher. And looking what's going on in this probably, again, is one of the weaker stocks. We haven't got a close below. But my guess is that we could easily have fairly large reversals maybe next week in the market. Probably going to close higher here into the close. There aren't a lot of shorts, and maybe that's why the volume is down to just over 1.8 billion shares as we have, an hour and 45 minutes left in the day. But it's interesting nonetheless. We'll continue on. Let's take a quick look at Facebook as we look at some of these other ones out here. This one's kind of back up. Again, we're looking for any close back below a 3x3 displaced average. We had it for a day in Apple. It popped back up. This one looks fairly interesting. Again, just let's call it 11 million shares going back into a high for May 3rd with 30 million shares. So pretty light volume as we look around most of these. Take a quick look at Amazon. Again, this one has had no signals really of any weakness. Again, not a lot of volume in this one, 2.7 million shares as we speak out. But, I mean, just a couple of days ago, we had 4 million shares. And if you look back on the 25th, we had almost 5 million shares. So it's a Friday. We're up on very light volume. And for me, going into the close, I'm going to be looking at puts off into July. And let's see what else do we have going on here. Let's take a quick look at the IBB. On it, what do we have? You know, this is closed back higher. Oh, a lot of people. A little higher. No volume in this today, though. 633,000 shares compared to 1.12 million shares, which was light yesterday. I guess really have to look back at 1.3, 1.4 million shares into the 8th of May, which is kind of what you're going through out here today. And, you can have light volume pushes higher. Generally, the snapback, though, is rather vicious. And so you kind of have to keep an eye on that. Could it get to $300 again? It could. I just don't see, when looking at the underlying stocks, what's there to do that. What else do we have going on here? The big loser of the day, Restoration Hardware. This is down $15 or 26%. And, of course, you got to get the losing horn for that one. If you can get the losing horn for anything, it's got to be the biggest loser of the day. This thing had kind of come back after being beaten down for a while, but it looks like it was just far too many shorts far too quickly. Their earnings was, I'm just going to call it a disaster. My guess is you've got a good shot at this lower $24 range. And again, this is one that actually had a higher volume low back here on February 7th, 4.6 million shares, compared to the low back on June 14th that just had 1 million shares. So you went into a previous low. You did it with more than four times the volume. This thing did gap up about 3 times. And now you've got that 3-gap play in effect. That says that there's a very high probability that this thing is going back down to $26. And there you have it. I didn't play it. I would have wished that this thing didn't have earnings. I liked the sideways action out here without a lot of juice. I didn't like coming in and trying to figure out what these guys were going to say for earnings. And, of course, like many times, it's just too long. But you are getting confirmation out here that this thing is going to $26 today. So we'll take a look at that. Look at some other stuff, too. Wanted to look at a few of them. Take a look at Love Airlines, LUV. There was anything really in this one today. Volume's a little better than a lot of the market stocks, 3.2 million shares. That goes into the previous high on the 25th of 6.7 million shares. So probably going to call that a pierce of the previous high on lighter volume and a pull back into that level. Let's take a quick look at WIN, see if there's any continuation of this is the wrong WIN, isn't it? Previous high. Okay, the 26th of May, you had 6.7 million shares. You've got what? Last 3 days, a little under 1 million, 1.3 million shares yesterday, and just 365,000 shares today compared to that 6.7 million share day back on the 26th. So volume has contracted rather immensely in those. Let's take a quick look at the XLV. This thing has been breaking out. This is the healthcare sector. You wanted to see some decent volume of about 9 million shares. And guess what? Yesterday, as it kind of went to it, you had 9 million shares. Today, just 2.5 million shares. So you kind of have to look at these things of being extremely light volume going in. Trimble Navigation, the GPS company, is back up. We talked about this, I think, yesterday, too. Just wanted to see how this thing was going up against this gap, which is pretty tough. Yesterday, 831,000 shares so far, 462,000 shares. So no sign of strength as that goes back through. UTHR, this thing's bounced to go back up to its huge gap down, going back to the 3rd of May. That came down on 2.1 million shares, up back into that gap with about 1 million shares so far today. Wi-Fi, which is Boingo Wireless, again making another high out here yesterday, 616,000 shares. Today, just 210,000 shares so far. Let's take a quick look at WIN, W-Y-N-N. Why is that not in there? Oh, because I put one too many wins in there? I think so. One too many ins in the wins. Nice pop-up yesterday. A lot of discussion about how many people are actually gambling again in China. That's always a bad news because China tends to pull back as soon as they start seeing that once again. Nice pop yesterday with 4 million shares. No follow-through today, just 1.3 million shares in that. Work. Quick look at that one. Is that WDAY, I think. Maybe I did it wrong. I think I did. There we go. Work-a-day. Earnings last night seemed to be pretty good. Opened up lower, but has gone higher. Volume yesterday was about 4 million shares, 3.6 million shares today. So again, not a whole lot in that one either. We're going to kind of bounce around here. You can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. And take a look at that. Whatever you want to talk about. Kind of a quiet Friday as we go into the close here. Be back in a minute.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're back. We're looking at Workday. Pretty good earnings call out here, 104.10 for the high today. One of my more stocks, at least, I like a little. I just like the theory, the business model, and the people running it. They seem to be doing well. MUX. Saw this last night. I wanted to see how it actually was doing today as we went through it. And this is McEwen Mining in the gold sector. Coming back to the November 14th low at 250. That had 5.6 million shares. Notice that just a couple of days ago it had 3.6 million shares. So it is down here kind of testing the low on lighter volume. It had kind of a one-day bounce, no real juice in it yesterday, 2 million shares. Today, kind of pulling back a little bit on no volume out here. Energy is about the same way up on the way down, but you do have a fairly decent lower volume out here at this 250 level. One that picked up in my scans that I thought was interesting. What else did we have? AAL, which is American Airlines. This is testing its previous high, December 9th, $50.55, $50.44, excuse me. 10 million shares on that December 9th high. Got about half that so far. Spiked it, did go 2 cents above it and back into the trading range. Energy on this last move was about the same as the move down. So I'm thinking that this does set up a better trading range between the $50 and $39 ranges on American Airlines. Allergen, we also have that. Align Technologies, a little higher on this one. No volume, though. Again, your last day of volume was this gap up on the 28th of April. Did so on 4.3 million shares, 761,000 shares today. So a lot of moving higher out here without much juice. Builder Square, this one had come back down to this gap up that goes back to March 1st. That had 4.8 million shares. Now, this one would look kind of interesting because it was a low volume test of this gap. Came into it with 1.8 million shares. The downside is up, which is 500,000 shares today. So at the most, that's it. Caterpillar hit its high and tested a recent high out here on much lighter volume yesterday. Didn't think that there was much to go in this one. He had an 18 million share high on April 26 at 105.98. Came into it yesterday with 4 million shares, so 1/4 of volume. Didn't think that was much of a threat for Caterpillar and higher prices here. Energy's not all that exciting, but it's not totally quiet off this May 18th low, but this high with 18 million shares getting tested yesterday by 4.2 million shares, and today now with just 2 million shares tells you how thin the volume is getting back up at these recent highs. Again, you can email me at path@tfnn.com. And the National Geographic special on Einstein's life. There's actually another channel, I think it's a travel channel, is running a 8 period Einstein's life thing, although a little too theatric for me. He wasn't that flamboyant. What else do we have? EOG Resources. Take a quick look at this one. This one had been coming down to the previous low of May 4th, $88.20 with 5.4 million shares. Got into it on Wednesday with 4 million shares, so a little lighter. Bounced for a day, coming back in. Now, this one has got a little lighter volume, but you would probably like to see this 88.20 actually tested for May 4th. But this one in natural gas actually is not making a bad pattern of patterns out here, which I can't find a lot that I really like. This one actually is fairly good. Energy comes up off the first bounce. It's lighter on the bounce back down, and you are testing previous lows on lighter volume. FDX, a break above the previous trading range. Just go back a little farther here. Come on. Let's see what we've got there. See how much volume we've got today. About 2 million shares going into the previous high of 2.2 million shares. So this looks like this one can make it. December 13th, 201.17, 2.2 million shares. You spiked that today. I guess the question is whether or not it's going to hold 201.17 by the end of the day. It's given some of this back, the spike to 204. No sign of strength, but it looks like maybe at least similar volume as it breaks this December 13th high out here. And what else do we have? ITW. What is this one? Illinois Tool Works. This one's breaking its previous high of April 24th. It had 4 million shares. 142.82 was the high that day. You get into that today with 440,000 shares, or 1/10 the volume. 1/10 the volume. Am I Bueller? Doesn't matter, right? Momentum is just going to drive everything higher. What else do we have? We looked at a few stocks out here. I haven't looked at IBM today. Wanted to see if any of these dogs were actually doing anything. This thing just continues to go sideways. No volume in it either. I don't see a lot. We had anything else out here? Let's take a quick look at the SMHs. Yeah. Talk about no volume in an ETF today. SMH volume today, 884,000 shares. 2 days ago, 1.7 million shares. The big down day back on the 17th had 6.3 million shares. So, again, fairly lighter volume as we go through some of these highs. The ETFs, though, are just totally evacuated of most volumes. Some of the indexes are being pushed around to actually get it. Was Einstein's a ladies' man? Well, yes, he was. I've read the books about him. He apparently wasn't any Sheldon. He had the moves. Apparently used them quite often. Trying to think anything else going on. Yeah, let's take a look at some other stuff here. Let's go back to yesterday. Some of the ones that I had out here I wanted to check out. Never got to. COP, let's take a quick look at that one. Been kind of coming back into this gap. Of course, we went a little lower in crude today. It still looks like that $42.25 low. Did Albert share moves? I don't know. This one's not very clear. You're down on a little lighter volume today. Energy's been pretty good off this April 12th high. But I have a feeling that until you get to 42.25, 42.30 on ConocoPhillips, you're not going to have a signal. Volume's a little bit, you gapped up and then gave it all back. You filled the gap and even more. Man, this is a hard chart to think that this thing is not going to test that 42.50, 42.25, or at least $43. We'll be back in a minute.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And we continue on and up and above. 2437 on the S&P cash. Volume still under 2 billion shares on the NYSE consolidated tape. So volume will get a second wimpy from me today. Not a hefty, but a wimpy. And ETFs, just about everything else, the exact same thing. So not much happening there. Let's take a look at DGAS. We've talked about this one. This is the natural gas ETF. Just thinking that where support's going to come in natural gas. Looks like you've got this gap down in this one that going back to the 8th of March, and that is going to come in and probably just under $28. Continuing to watch, what do we have for natural gas today? I didn't see the low, but nat gas is off half a cent, $3 and 3/100ths. So pretty much just at this $3 level. Doing a little back of the envelope calculation here, that 25 area in the DGAS would suggest what? It's about 280. I think that's about $282.82. I'd have to go back and look at the contract to see where that comes in, but that looks fairly close. $2.82 on nat gas. Going to do that. We talked about GLNG. Let's take another look on how this one did. Again, I kind of like the idea long term of this company that has a lot of freighter service for liquefied petroleum gas. The cheaper it gets, of course, the more likely that eventually someone's going to really decide to use a great deal of it doing something. Just hasn't happened yet. You're back into this gap up that goes back to the 30th of November with 4 million shares, with about 1 million shares. I think we're kind of close. What I would like to see is this thing just go sideways for about a month or 6 weeks, come back into around the 1st of August and start seeing some of these things base out in the natural gas. Hershey, well, we'll take a look at this one. Got right back up. We were talking about this a couple of days ago. Got right back up to its previous high. Had no volume. Literally 20 million shares to 2 million shares, or 1/10 the volume. Just kind of gone sideways since then. So there's not a lot to say about that. no signal on it yet, other than the fact that the volume is pathetic. J.P. Morgan was going to see whether or not this thing did anything with its previous low going back to January 18th, $82.53, 30 million shares. Came into it with 28 million shares, bounced a little yesterday with 17 million shares today, 10.6 million shares. So you got to look at these and think, what happens next week? Fed comes out, says it doesn't like asset prices this high. It's going to raise the interest rate a couple of ticks. Is that enough to get some of these financials going again? And that'd be tough. Let's take a quick look at the XLF. This thing, again, as we said, a lot of these stocks are in these triangle patterns, and this one is a poster child for it. You had a kind of a spike out here. I don't know if that spike part is right, but you haven't been able to make lower lows and haven't been able to make really higher highs in this XLF. It just continues to burrow in out here. A little higher today. Is volume anything to write home again about? Not really. So we'll continue to go down that road. I wanted to take a look at Select Comfort. This one, we talked about it as it came back into its gap. This one at $27 would be very interesting on this one. You had the sign of strength back on the 20th of April. You did so with 11.8 million shares. You came back in with less than 11 million shares to fill part of that gap, and you got fairly close. You bounced, though, yesterday with 800,000 shares. Today you just have 336,000 shares. It's the risk reward out here for me. You need this thing to get down to about $27 to make the risk of this thing getting back down into $25.50 worth it. And that $33.29 high out here certainly looks like a untested high volume high that could be tested. Let's take a quick look at the TLT, see if there's any juice in that. You're finally back up to this resistance level, this gap down from the 9th of November. Had 31.2 million shares today. We're into it with how much? 8 million shares. So again, you've got pretty big discrepancy for these huge moves down in the bond market. But man, if you were long this thing, you got every bit of wood of the bat on this ball. I think it is problematic to think that, you know, if you bought it at the lows, although, you know, you had a pretty good sign out here. You tested the December 16th low out here at 115.49. Didn't quite get there. You needed another 50 cents, but did so on less than half the volume. So pretty good signal that this thing had been washed out. Energy coming back off the January 12th to that March 13th low had been pretty good. You've basically completed, or will kind of complete, an ABC here right about this 126.50 area. So I think you're about 9/10 or a little bit farther down the road in that trade. What else do we have? I'll look at a few other things as we had. Auto Nation. Let's see if any love out here for some of these stocks that have been beat up. None for this one today. Had a little bit of a juice in this yesterday's that popped back into the trading range. Did so on 1.66 million shares. Today down on about 500,000 shares. He had one good day, and then that's kind of about it. Not a bad-looking chart. I don't think I'd be shorting this again, but certainly doesn't look like there's a bunch of it, or a bunch in there for me. Did we do the XOP? Did we do, what is that, XOM? I don't think we did. Let's go back and take a look at XOM in this energy patch. Again, you can give me a call at 877-927-6648. I don't see anything else out here. Okay. Well, you're finally back to this thing that we've been waiting for today in Exxon. Let's go back a little bit farther out here and see. This gap goes back to, what is that, April 8th of 2016 for Exxon. So we've come into that today. See what we've done. Well, certainly not any lighter volume than that April 19th low at almost 15 million shares. You already got 14 million shares. This energy sector continues to look darker and darker. We'll be back. Give me a call. You got plenty of time. 877-927-648.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of The Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
Walt Disney not getting any love today, but that's on the back of a report showing that the theme park attendance is way down over last year. They raised prices, and because they were kind of crowded, so they decided to raise prices, and apparently maybe they raised them a little too much because it chased a ton of people off. That's kind of down, only picking up a little bit more than yesterday, but again, there's not a great deal of volume in much of anything today, so we'll continue to soldier on. We talked about Caterpillar, so let's take a look at John Deere. This one, just nothing, a little higher up here on 1.6 million shares today. That's compared to 4.2 million shares on its little gap up yesterday. So we continue to have these stocks that are kind of extremely weak. that's being charitable. See if there's anything else I wanted to take a look at. Nielsen. I've been watching this one for a while to see whether or not it was going to be able to. You get the feeling that the writing's on the door for this company. But a fairly decent test of the April 25th low, $38.31, spiked down, had 9 million shares. Got into it on May 26th with this 3.5 million shares, 3.6 million shares. Slowly moving up, but today again, a little higher than yesterday's close, but 1.6 million shares compared to 3.38 million shares yesterday. Take a look at a few more out here. Did we look at Amazon? AMZN? I don't think we did we? Okay. Yeah. 2.8 million shares yesterday, 2.4, 3.9 on Tuesday, and 3.2 on Monday. Or actually a 4-day week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah. Okay. So nothing in that. We looked at Microsoft. We look at Netflix, NFLX. This guy was out making news, if you can call it that, at the Recode conference. Wrote about it today in the Tech Insider. Man, this thing's up today. Let's call it 2.4 million shares. This thing gapped up on 8.5 million shares on the 25th. So I'm not going to say this is a pretty light volume move out here for a higher high on a closing Friday. See if there's anything else. Asked Andy Heck about this. Haven't gotten back with me, but I thought it was an interesting chart because it doesn't look horrible. And this chart has always looked horrible. The stock has reverse split 100 times. I was just wondering about what was going to happen with the ethanol subsidies. And my thought has always been that these things were going out. I listened to some congressional testimony on it. It always seemed like we're just going to let these things finally fade out after 40 years. I wonder if that is so, but kind of interesting to see this thing. This is a stock that's reverse split a bunch of times. But November 11th, $5.75, 1.44 million shares. Came in with half that on May 31st, and now it's been going kind of sideways. Just wondering, as gas continues to go lower, and ethanol is about $2 a gallon, I think, $1.80, $2 a gallon. What is the future of ethanol if the subsidies go away? Will everybody just go back to 100% regular old gas? I don't know. Maybe Andy will have an answer for that next week. We'll see you Monday. Same bat channel, same bat time. Remember to sell when you can, not when you have.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.